Realtors. This is episode number 314 of your SCR Live Updates. I'm your host, Nick Kremydas, and today I've got a special guest with me, Dettorre. Louis, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Louis is your SCR Political Director, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what's been happening at NAR. November the 4th, and it's actually afternoon. We are a little late getting started this morning. We had a little bit of extra long staff meeting this morning, and that's probably my fault. Sorry, guys. But we had a lot of business to take care of as we approach the holidays. Hard to believe it's the end of the year. It's December. Happy holidays and season's greetings to all Palmetto State. I hope that you've got your shopping done or whatever it is, your seasonal activities. I hope you've got them all done because traffic is already getting to be a bear, especially around Harbison over here. So avoid it during the the lunchtime and the 5 o'clock traffic times. It's going to get pretty crazy. But we're here today. We're going to cover a couple of things. We're going to talk about the REALTOR Party Training Conference that NAR hosted in St. Louis attended the event along with a few other realtors from South Carolina. And I wanted y'all to learn a little bit more, get a little peek behind the scenes about how we, at the national level especially, identify, prioritize legislative topics and issues, and who are the committees, the leadership that are involved in that process. And it all begins with the REALTOR Party Training Conference. So, Louis, tell us a little bit about, what's the purpose of the meeting? Who attends this training conference?
Sure, and Nick, good to be here, and good afternoon. Can't believe it's December already. Show me state, right, as they said. So really an opportunity for training, orientation for members throughout the country, a part of associations throughout the country. In South Carolina, we had several members who learned about what does it mean to be a major investor in RPAC, how do we increase participation, all the different really important advocacy and RPAC topics that are going to prepare them to be leaders within our state for the year moving forward, and to bring their wisdom into those programs that they already carry with them.
So these are the first meetings of the 2024 NAR legislative and RPAC related committees, right?
That's right. So it's kicking off to what's going to be a very busy year next year from an election standpoint, from campaigns to advocacy, really just jumping off and igniting each other, moving forward into what's going to be a busy year. So a lot of excitement in the room.
Great way to use President Casper's theme for next year, igniting others. It seems like we say every election cycle is the most important. Next year's election is going to be of equal importance. Did y'all get any insights about what these elections next year may mean for realtors?
Well, what's fun about this conference, and this was my first time attending, but what was fun to see is the panels, the discussion around, again, peeking behind the curtain of what's been talked about, what's going on, and what do we think, and everyone wants to know, what's coming up. And it being a presidential election year, there's a lot of anticipation with that. What it means for us, I think there's a lot coming down the track that could change, and it's second by second. So I think it's important for realtors to stay engaged and to just stay at the table as those discussions are happening, and we'll see.
What are some of those issues? I know Joe Harris gave you an update during the conference. Highlight some of the takeaways from his presentation.
Absolutely, Nick. So Joe talked about in his advocacy scoop, several different things. Again, talked about it being a really busy year coming up next year. Talked about the economy that both realtors and just everyone is keeping an eye on as it relates to inflation, debt, and of course interest rates and what could happen throughout there. And I know everyone inventory in all of the different parts within that conversation that could move that along. The call for action. I don't know if we would talk about that now, but just really thanking Realtors for being at the table when that call for action, if you remember that came out, was it September?
Mm-hmm. That had to do with that first almost government shutdown, right, where they were trying to pass a bill or resolution to fund government, and flood insurance is wrapped up into that funding, and we were looking at a period of time during, the height of hurricane season, not having any flood insurance available to write in South Carolina. So how did Realtors make a difference there?
Went out at about 11 p.m. at night, and Joe noted, NAR noted, just the response to that in South Carolina was a huge response, notable response to that. And because of those actions, Joe noted that the phone calls that they had from members of Congress that said, now is the provision that you wanted in that continuing resolution, is it there? And had an opportunity to answer, yes, it's there, everything's okay. So thank you to Realtors, thanks for that.
And the other feedback that we got from NAR as a result of that CTA, that call to action, is that Congress is very, very unlikely to allow a lapse of that program. Continuing resolution coming up in January, right?
That's right. So extended out until January, and how those conversations go moving forward, there's not going to be a lapse moving forward, and that's because of the powerful statement.
Also highlights the need to attend. This meeting was not a general membership meeting. Various committees that's legislative issues, but there is a legislative meeting coming up. That's an annual event that is for all members. That's the Realtor legislative meetings in May in Washington, D.C. And I think it's a good idea to maybe plug that today and get members to put it on their radar screen.
Absolutely. The RLM.
I'm looking up the date now. I'm not checking my text messages.
I think it's May 4th through 7th, but don't quote me on that. But again, saving that.
That's correct.
Is it? All right.
It's the week of May 5th. That's right.
All right. So those meetings, again, will be jam-packed with legislative topics, priorities, and really an opportunity for, again, Realtors to just show up in force, let both their voices be heard, but also presence of just seeing the sea of Realtors in D.C. That's there. So excitement. There was a discussion around.
Excited about that.
First time, I understand, since before COVID.
Since before COVID.
So again, with everything that's being talked about going on, an opportunity to just share the Realtor message, Realtor brand.
Awesome. The legislative meetings are in D.C. It's usually that week of Mother's Day in May, and it's very consistently held there every single year. So mark that on your calendar, save the date, and into D.C. for that event. One of the things I know that I take away from these meetings, and maybe, Louis, I know y'all had some former legislators on the panel in St. Louis. Oftentimes the media, or maybe it's just social media, that portrays the divisiveness in our country, how R's and D's just don't talk to each other, or have stronger feelings against each other than that. I know y'all had at least one panel discussion in St. Louis. What was your takeaway from that? Yeah,
there was a panel with some former members of Congress from the St. Louis area. And the discussion that they had from a bipartisan perspective was really insightful. Some of the things that I believe that they felt comfortable sharing with Realtors being Realtor champions as well, knowing that there was it was a good place to have the discussion around just the inner workings of how you can be Congress is presented with a challenge, and legislators do work together. They do call each other. Slow to admit at times that they are friends until
Sure.
maybe after they're out of the limelight. But certainly that discussion is happening, and they do rely on realtors to be able to provide them the information that then they can work through their process, or in this case, benefiting realtors.
That's awesome. You know, I think the point that you made is one that we should highlight. These elected officials oftentimes, after they leave office, are kind of open up a little bit more and tell us a little bit more of what happened behind the scenes during their time in office. Because today, you know, in today's times, whether it's through social media or whatnot, if you have a leading Republican and a leading Democrat together for a photograph, that could lead to primary opponents in their upcoming elections. Sure. It is not looked upon very favorably by what I would call, I guess, the extremes of either party. But it's one of the things that I know our Realtor members can be proud of is the fact that we're not Democrat or Republican. We're not red or blue. We're the purple party.
We're the purple party.
We're the purple party. We are the group that knows you've got to work with both sides of the aisle to get real things done, and compromise is not a dirty word. Compromise is how we reach our goals. And appreciate, Louis, that you helped lead our South Carolina delegation. Understand that we had our incoming president and president-elect, Keon and Rhea Smith, were both members of that group as in their roles on NER committees next year, as well as a few other members. So, excuse me, I left my bottle of water on the table. Mike, I think that wraps it up. Was there anything else we needed to cover today? Well, that was a lot. Louis, I appreciate you being with me today and joining me for this quick update. Realtors, be safe, watch that traffic out there, stay alert, and do something nice for somebody today, and we'll catch up again with you real soon. Take care.